Καλησπέρα σας, καλώς ήρθατε στο Guitarspot.Gr, το οποίο σήμερα φιλοξενείται στους χώρους του Guitar4 παρέα με τον Kurt Rosenwinkel. Mr. Rosenwinkel, thank you very much for taking the time to do this interview.
My pleasure.
By the way, it was an amazing concert, and thank you for the music as well.
Thank you.
How did it feel playing in front of the Greek audience after quite some time?
Well, 2 years ago, I think it was 2 years ago, Pantelis Keche and Guitar4 brought me to do a solo concert, and that was my first time performing under my own name in Greece and in Athens, and we played also at the Guitarspot.Gr place, and it was a wonderful experience, and I always remembered it, and so it's great to be back, and we had a great time tonight, and it was a wonderful audience. The venue has completely changed.
Yes.
Which was a big surprise to see, but it was also very beautifully laid out, and the connection with the audience was really good, and the sound was great, and we had a great time.
And when did you start playing the guitar, and when did you start playing music, and when did you know that this was going to be your career?
Well, I started playing tennis racket before I played guitar. And I knew then that would be my career, that I was like 8 years old or something, and then I started playing piano when I was 9, and then finally when I was 12 years old, I started taking guitar lessons and took up guitar.
Oh, nice. And you have lived both in the States, and I believe that you're currently living in Germany, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, I live in Berlin.
So you have both the pictures of jazz music in the US and jazz music in Europe. Do you think there are any differences between the jazz scene in the US and in Europe?
Sure. I mean, I don't really think of it in terms of countries. I think of it in terms of social scenes or the kinds of music that people are interested in, or just the differences in different people that you find. I think that for the music that I'm interested in jazz, like which is like bebop and post bop and Duke Ellington and like just hardcore, real jazz, and then also of course the music that my contemporaries are making, and my scene and what we're doing now. I find people who are interested in that kind of music all over the world. So it truly is a international, worldwide kind of spirit that you connect with in different places at different times with different people. So it's I can't really generalize about the differences between two different countries per se. I would just say you find, it's like if you're a tourist in a country and then you have a great time as a vacationer, then somebody asks you, what do you think of that country? And you had a great time, so you say, I love that country, but it's not the country, it's the time that you had there, and so it's very subjective, and so maybe I would go to a city and I would connect with a whole bunch of people who are like-minded artists, and then I would feel like a connection with that place, but maybe I would go to another place and I wouldn't meet those people, but it doesn't mean that they're not there, just the particular time that you have,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's a bit more involved than sort of thinking about it in terms of the place.
I understand.
Yeah.
And as a guitar player, you have a very personal and very distinctive tone. I believe that one of the things that makes your tone so distinctive and so interesting and personal is the fact that you have incorporated your voice and your playing, in your guitar sound. Could you tell us how you do that gear-wise?
Yeah. At a certain point, I realized that the vocal quality in the guitar sound is important for my sound, because I used to just play with whatever my guitar gear was, and then I would just sing naturally, and you know, the people who would be there would experience it as a combination of those two things.
Yes.
But I didn't realize that it was that until I started to record in recording studios, and then they would only mic the amp, and then I was everybody would say who knew me, they can never get your sound when you're in the recording studio, you know. So I was always very frustrated for a long time, years and years and years. It took me a long time to realize that the voice was part of the sound. So when I realized that, then I started to actually mic the voice and put it also through the guitar amp. So that's developed in many ways. I still use the voice, but I've also found ways to get a vocal quality in the guitar tone using certain effects and certain gear, you know, in different ways, you know, like for example, like I'll put a very fast tremolo in the signal chain, but I'll have an expression pedal that puts it at 0% mix, and then I blend it in, and it's like, it's very hard and fast tremolo. It's like, you know, and if you blend it in maybe just, you know, 4% or 10%, then it gives this kind of a very subtle modulating quality to the tone, which you experience in the ears as a kind of a vocal modulated expressive quality, a vocal quality.
Yes.
You know, and sometimes with the expression pedal, like when it really gets, I can really express that, you know, with the pedal at certain moments, it's all the way down, and it's like you hear it as like a broken sound, like, you know, a really, it sounds like it's something's broken in the sound, you know, and that's the extreme version of that. You know, you play a chord and it's like, and that has an emotional effect.
I understand.
You know.
Yes. As I was watching you and of course hearing you play tonight, I kept thinking sometimes, right now, is he singing what he's playing, or is he playing what he's singing?
The age-old question.
Yes,
the chicken and the egg.
You have been asked this quite a few times, I believe. But
you know, there's, yeah, I mean, I don't bother worrying about which is which.
Comes out naturally, right?
Yeah, but I do know that I can sing what I play, which means that the ideas are formulated through the musical ideas, or that hearing something in my mind, or maybe shapes,
yes,
you know, or, you know, idiomatic things, you know, that come from the instrument and come from, you know, that side of things, and then I can, that are generated from, you know, other ways, and then I can sing that. So that's an example of singing what you play.
Yes.
But I've noticed that the best experiences that I have are when I'm in touch with the vocal center of the music, and then the instruments following along to what I'm singing, but it's always sort of oscillating between the two, you know. It's both, you know. Sometimes it's that, sometimes it's that, you know.
I understand.
Yeah.
Great. And Tonight we had the chance to watch you perform with a new quartet, Rosenwinkel new quartet, and you've been in countless gigs and you've played with countless important musicians. And do you find yourself feeling better when you're playing with quartets, with trios, alone, or with big bands? Is there any? Do you prefer playing with any kind of band, a small band or a big band?
Well, I mean, my main staple is the quartet. You know, my music works with the presence of a harmonic instrument. You know, and so I was playing a lot in the past with Mark Turner. You know, tenor saxophonist, and so I would be playing the harmony, and he would be on the melodic duties, you know.
Yes.
And then, and we'd be playing my music, and then at a certain point, I felt that I had developed the voice to be able to take the melodic role, and then that's when I started to play quartet with the piano, so that I could have that other role reversal, that I could be playing the melodies, and so I really enjoy quartet with piano, and I like that relationship right now. But also, of course, there's all kinds of different ways to make music, and different stuff comes out, and so I love playing trio because I love the space, especially if you're playing standards. Like I don't play my own songs when I'm playing trio.
I've noticed that.
Yeah, because it's my songs have very specific harmonic details that. Melodic and harmonic and rhythmic, it's like a whole package, you know. My songs sort of need a fuller exposition of the song, you know. Maybe not. Maybe when I'm a little older, I'll play my songs trio, and that'll be cool. But for now, I love playing trio because it's. I just started a trio actually, or rather discovered a trio that I decided that I want to play more with now, and it's with Eric Rivas and Nasheed Waits, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, the triangle, the equilateral triangle, where the flow of energy is equidistant, and it's more of a conversation and an interplay, and then also a lot of space and openness in the sound, and I love playing trio with that, and then in the past 5 or 6 years, I started to play more with big bands, and that's been a real adventure for me. I played with the Lincoln Center Big Band recently. They did a program of my music that we performed at Lincoln Center, and that's been a real interesting experience, going to different places and having different arrangers in different places with different big bands give you their kind of take on your music, and it's easy for me because, you know, I just send them the charts, and then they do all the arrangements, and then I go and then we rehearse and then we play a concert, you know. And so I've done that in a lot of different cities in the world, and eventually I discovered the OJM big band in Portugal, in Porto, the Orquestra de Jazz de Montesinos, and I really felt when I met them that they were, first of all, I felt that they understood my music, and also I felt that they were, they had a very family kind of feeling to the personal feeling in the band, which is, you know, sometimes big bands are comprised of people who may be more or less interested in your music if you're a visiting artist. You know, they have tons of artists who come and do a thing like that and go. And at first it was kind of uncomfortable or a little bit intimidating to go to a band where you kind of sense that maybe the cat over there, he's not digging it. You know? He's just working his part, you know, and, you know, that's a little, you know, I think now I wouldn't mind so much, but when I first started doing it, you know, that was a trip, you know. But then when I found the Montesinos, it felt like everybody was like there, and they were very supportive of me, because it's hard to go up in front of a big band and be the the leader of the big band as a melodic voice, you know. For me, I need to feel like I have the support of everybody. And so for those two reasons, and also the quality of the musicianship, both from the arranging standpoint and from the playing standpoint, was at a very high level. So I felt comfortable, you know, doing a record with them, and we constantly doing more concerts and ongoing, always adding more music to the book.
Any chance of seeing you here do something with this band in Greece?
I would love to. I mean, you know, it's always hard economically to make it work to travel with a big band. I mean, somebody actually in the audience was just talking to me tonight about, he was saying, man, I wish he had the album that I made with OJM, the big band album that I made called Our Secret World. And he was just saying, man, I wish there could be a band like this in Greece, you know?
Yes.
So that might be a open-ended question for somebody who might want to make a band here, because then nobody would have to travel. They'd be here. I'd come, you know, or whoever they want would come. You know what I mean?
Hopefully, we'll see something.
You can
like
do
that.
it. Yeah.
Throughout your career, I believe that you have played with many guitars, mostly semi-hollow guitars.
Yeah.
I can see. And have you found your instrument after playing with different guitars, different companies, different luthiers making instruments for you as well, from Italy, I believe?
Yeah.
And do you believe that you have found your instrument, you have found your voice for your hands, and you don't have to look any further to improve the instrument?
Yeah. I think so, but I've found few. I mean, I'm playing this one I can show you. Sorry, Domenico, it's missing one of these things, but I gotta put it on. But this is a beautiful, beautiful instrument, as you can see, made by Domenico Malfa, and he's an Italian luthier. And he's made probably about 7 guitars for me over the course of the last 8 years or something like this, you know. And it's a really humbling thing that there would be somebody who makes guitars who would be interested just on their own, for their own process, to make a guitar for you, so that they could get the feedback and then they could develop their instruments with you. And that, through working with Domenico, I started to learn that is a very old relationship between luthiers and musicians, you know, instrument builders and musicians, that they have this relationship that exists where they build an instrument, and they give it to you to play, and you give them feedback, and then you develop it together. And so finally he came up with this one, and it really hits all of my G spots, my spots. You know, it's an incredible instrument. And I've been looking for an instrument like this for a very long time. One that has the strength of tone, the punch that you can play with a big band and punch through, you know, the melodic, you know, a dense fabric. Like, my music is very dense, you know, like harmonically, and, you know, so you need a very stable melodic voice. You need to be able to play one note, and that note really carries the band or carries the song, you know. And so you need a guitar with a lot of sustain qualities that a solid body has, you know. But then also you need it to be a very deep sound that's complex and has a lot of character and a lot of complexity, you know, in the sound, like a big Cabernet wine or something very big and deep, but that also has that singular kind of direct kind of sound, you know. So very hard to achieve that, and he's done it with this guitar, and also I'm developing a signature guitar with a luthier or a guitar builder in Japan, from Tokyo, and the company of that is the company of this builder is called Westville Guitars, and we have been developing a signature guitar, because I also found that he also was able to achieve these things as well. So at the moment, I'm kind of going back and forth, you know, on my gigs. Sometimes I go with that one, sometimes I go with this one.
When you have this collaboration with the guitar builder, do you suggest also some technical aspects? Like, do you suggest what type of wood or what type of pickups, or do you just talk to him about your music and how you want it to behave musically, and he makes the choices?
No, not even. I mean, it's at the point now, like, they know my music, so we don't have to talk about. They understand what I need, so they think about the woods. They think about how they can achieve that with the pickups and stuff. I don't know anything about the wood. I don't know anything about pickups, so I can't really speak to that. So that's a mystery to me. It's just not my realm of expertise at all. I have not educated myself at all. I've been busy educating other things. But what I do is, you know, I give feedback about the ergonomics of the instrument, you know, the feel of it. For example, this right here is a very critical part. Like, what happens with your hand when you go up to this part of the instrument? You know, like, how is your access? If you have a single cutaway, you know, if you have a double cutaway, obviously it's easy.
It's easier.
Yeah, but when you don't, there's always this
obstacle there.
This point, and that's a very critical thing to discuss with the guitar builder about the shape of this, and you can even see he's like edged it off a little bit here, so that your hand is not stopped. If you make a big run and you go up, you're not like stopped, you know, by this part of the instrument. So, you know, little things like the dots, like where the dots are. Like, I think I would change this. You know, like, it doesn't really matter that much, but I think I prefer when there's a line on little preferences.
Yes,
personal preferences. And but then also one thing that happened to me with this instrument, and you can see I actually painted these dots on myself. But I didn't paint only those. I painted all of them, because when I was playing at the Village Vanguard, the lights on the gig were such that I couldn't see the dots at all, and I was playing like wrong notes, and you know, I was playing on the wrong fret, because I need the dots. You know, I need to be able to see the dots. So that's like a constant conversation that I'm having with builders. Is like, you know, because I take white out. You know, like white out that you're meant to, like, you know, when you're writing with a pen, and then you want to make a mistake, and you take the paint in the little bottle, and you know, that's what this is. You know, because that's what they have in the dressing room of the Village Vanguard. And I'm like.
Maybe you should try experimenting with glowing dots then. It's a quite common thing nowadays, yes. You're an educated musician, a formally educated musician. You have studied music. Right? You've been to Berkeley.
I'm always studying music.
But do you think that is it...
Berkeley is like
a small...
Tiny 2 years of my life. But I've been studying music since I started.
Yes, but do you think
I wasn't formally educated by Berkeley as a musician. I went there.
Do you think that...
Got some good things, but...
What was important was...
I'm self-educated.
You're self-educated.
Yeah.
But do you think that what was important when somebody goes to a university Is it more important the fact that he's going to be schooled by professors and stuff, or the fact that he's going to play with other musicians there?
Well, I think that both are important. I think that you have to be able to converse intelligently with other musicians, about the music, and you got to be able to read music, write music. You got to be able to talk about harmony, talk about scales. Mm-hmm. There's a very there's a very quick shorthand that for example, Aaron and I, or any educated musician who knows about theory mm-hmm. and about harmony, that you can just say like, oh, it's not the 13, it's the flat 13, mm-hmm. And it's just, oh, okay, that's done. But at the same time, you have to know how to play with people, and you have to improvising is an art that you learn not through theory. It's an art that you learn through experience. And when I was at Berkeley, what I did most was just go around and play with people. Mm-hmm. So I would say that both are important. You can't leave one out,
The plans for the future?
Plans for the future? Pantelis and I were just speaking about that earlier today. We're going to do a big tour coming up in Greece, we were just speaking hypothetically, but I hope to come back and play more in Greece, mm-hmm. and I'm doing a lot of different things all over, all through the year and everything. I have 3 records that I'm working on at the moment, and working hard to try to finish those. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of touring with my band. I'm doing also a tour with Avishai Cohen, the bassist, this summer. It's sort of a big summer tour with his band. I'm playing with him and doing a lot of work with my own band around, and then working on these albums, and it's a very busy life. I had 2 hours of sleep last night, so it's so great to be involved with people like Pantelis all over the world. I find people like him who are really important for their own scene and making things happen for their own scene, bringing me to come and meet you guys and play. It's a great opportunity for me, and also it's great for the musicians and for the public in the place that they're doing it in. So I think that you should look for new educational and performance opportunities from Guitar 4 mm-hmm. and Pantelis.
Thank you very much for this interview. Yeah. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
We hope to see you back here as soon as possible.
Yeah, me too.
And wish you the best for the future.
Thanks. You too.
Για περισσότερες συνεντεύξεις, παρουσιάσεις μουσικού εξοπλισμού και online μαθήματα, επισκεφτείτε το Guitarspot.Gr.